Boom, and we're live. Hello, welcome everybody to another episode of the Wide World of Warhammer. With us today, we've got the world rugby champions and the best rugby players in the world. The best, the people from New Zealand.
Why is that relevant?
I don't know, because New Zealand are cool. New Zealand are cool. So we got the champs, the North and South Island of New Zealand. We've got Haydn Korach. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, mate. Yourself?
Better now you're here. As well as Michael Taylor, looking like a boys band from the Lordies with a beautiful hairstyle. Love it.
Yep.
And we've got the ever prevalent, the ever talkative Mr. Tangent himself, Alex Towse. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm really tempted to not say anything right now just to deal with the, despite you're calling me overly talkative. But anyway, we'll play along.
No, it's all good. It's all right. We love you for it anyway. So we got the New Zealand contingents of North and South Island team to talk here about the ANZ Team Champs and how they're approaching this event for the first time in quite a while because they weren't able to attend last year. Since 2019.
Yeah, some guys had real jobs and had to bail out. I hadn't.
Yeah, some of us. Yep, some of us had real life. Twelve. We can't all be students.
Can't all be students living off government funding. Damn. Rats.
Yeah, instead Hayden's a full-time employee living off government funding.
Whoa.
Do you not have a government job, so you're technically living off government funding?
Yes, that's
partially. He lives off
our
tax money to us.
Yeah.
He's living off our tax money.
That's right.
No, I'm himself. Another one. There we go. Anyways, before we dig suck into talking about North and South Island, New Zealand, as well as Lucy the dog, obviously. So start around the room. So Michael, so for people who don't know you, so obviously you're playing the New Zealand North team. What's your role in the team? And then how did you sort of get into 40K for people who aren't aware? And where may have people heard your beautiful voice?
Sure. So you may have heard my voice, hopefully not for your sake, on Kraken Cast, our little New Zealand show. We talk about the scene down here. There you go. There's a link. What else have we done? How to get into 40K? So I started with those this is a very Australian, New Zealand thing. You remember those Lord of the Rings magazines? I think this is how everyone got into wargaming. Yeah, got into those when I was a little pipsqueak. It was a long time ago, and that just spiraled out of control. So I think that one magazine at a Countdown supermarket, 15 years ago, has probably ended up costing me more money than I care to count.
Don't think about it. Do not think about it.
Probably well over $40,000. And then I've been playing kind of on and off since, got back into the game competitively mid-8th. So I've been playing sort of the competitive scene since then, and have been loosely involved in this team. Got picked in it the year where we had to can because lovely COVID, and then have been sort of around that team since. And so, back in it this year. In terms of role, I was very much sort of picked in as a bit of a flex player, a bit of a let's see what the data slate and the meta does and let Michael adjust to it at the last minute. Basically, they couldn't be bothered figuring out what they wanted me to do. And about 2 weeks ago, I went around to our captain's house and he gave me 3 boxes of orcs and went, just figure it out. Here's a list. Go
this
paint
feels like
it and
a
figure
translation. Michael will play what he tells us to. Let's put him on the team and then deal with it after the data slate.
Pretty much. Yeah, it was pretty much Michael will just play whatever he needs to play at the time. So very much a bit of a not in for being a faction specialist. Definitely in. There are some factions I specialize more in, but definitely in more as a flex pick. Left till the end to figure out what the meta was doing.
Yep. Happy days. No, but it's one of the players for the New Zealand North team. But also for a player for the New Zealand North team, we've got Haydn Korach. So Haydn, how did you get into 40K? And tell us about, I guess, obviously you're part of Kraken Cast and Kraken Wargaming as well.
Yeah, so I got into 40K. So when I was 12, I walked into the Whangarei Library, which is a small town in New Zealand here. And they had a white dwarf, and I looked at that, and went down to my local hobby shop, and I was like, man, I want to get some of this stuff, and showed them the magazine. And they had a bunch of it there, but it was all fantasy. So I bought one of those old 10 boxes of the Empire Halberdiers that had their single pose with the shield and the halberd. And I was like, got my box of that, got my Carl Franz on a griffin, all metal. So Michael was probably, still in primary school at this point. Or no, he might not have even been born, actually, because I was 12. So Gee, this is going back in time. Like that is
I
a
reckon
good
I would have been
If
3.
you get really unlucky, like
3
all
years.
3 of us might not have been born, Hayden. If you want to like,
26 years ago.
Ooh, I was 3.
And then, so I played fantasy for a long time, and then I was real rubbish at it. Like I'd go to tournaments and I'd come last, like dead last. I was absolute rubbish. And then I moved into a place in Kitty, which is a really small town of about 3,000 people at the time. And I had my Games Workshop cases with me, and I put them into the house. And my flatmate goes, "Do you play Warhammer?" And I was like, "Yeah, I play fantasy." And he's like, "Oh, I play 40k." And I was like, ah. So I threw out all my fantasy armies, bought some 40k armies, and yeah, like Michael, it's cost me a shitload since then. So I've been part of the New Zealand ATC team since 2012 now. So probably the longest serving person on the team, apart from Daniel Haydn. In those glory days, we went over 2 years in a row and won it both times, and then got bored, so we didn't go back for a little while. And then we went back. Yeah, and then we went back and yeah, and then we went back, and I was like, Aussies, that'll be easy to beat, and we got smoked. We came dead last in Perth, so that was pretty funny. And then obviously we went back again, Queensland. Didn't do that much better, but yeah, like this year we've got a pretty solid team.
And you're sending over another team of Kiwis, so you can come second.
Yeah,
last, right, Hayden?
Yeah. Well, we had to cut, like the worst half of the country. So we're like, if we could just focus on only having the good part of the country in one team, and we could cut the deadwood, we'll probably be a lot better for it. So
yeah, if we could have Steve Joel
Okay, but so Sam, the problem is he cut Steve Joel and kept Whangarei, so like I don't know what he's doing there. They cut the wrong bits there.
yeah, exactly. So obviously part of Kraken Cast, and I was part of the 40 Cabal before that, which both focused on the New Zealand scene. And yeah, my role in the team is to look at Eldari, basically, try and figure out how that would work for it. And hopefully try and bring home some points for the team as well. So we'll see how that works out, though.
Hoorah! Happy days. But take those Wraith Guards of Glory and some Swooping Hawks. He's bringing back.
Just the units that everyone goes, this shit, don't take them. And I was like, oh, I'll take 2 units of 10. We'll see how we go.
Wait, you have 2 units of one, or is it like you've got a 10 of each in the list?
Mm-hmm.
If you read the list, perhaps you would know.
Yeah. I know. I saw that he had Wraithguard and Swooping Hawks. I thought it was only 1 unit of each. Did I miss like an entire one of those units?
It's Wraithguard and Swooping Hawks. 10 of each.
Yeah. Okay. No, 2 units of 10 got me really excited. You've got like 20 in one of them, but no.
Yeah. I got 20 Wraithguard. That's my list. Nothing else. So.
Yeah.
I look promisingly over my shoulder, Hayden. There's like 42 Wraithblades, Wraithguard in that shelf behind me. So one day they'll be good. Right? Right?
I had to brush the cobwebs, and like there was some spiders living on them and stuff like that as well. So it's like
like better time than ever, right? Like end of the edition, may as well give it a shot. They might be good. They might work it. We'll see.
What's the bit they just crush everyone? Exactly. They'll crush everyone.
Or not.
That's my belief.
Hell yeah.
Or not.
I think you're going to want your pewter spearmen that like they've got higher chance of doing that. Like pack them into a sock, then you can crush someone better than on the Wraith Guard.
All right, Twilesy. We will see when I play you.
Yeah, watch me. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, too good. As well, so we got Towse. So he's the captain of the newly formed team, New Zealand South. So the first time attending. So whoop, whoop, and he's a rep also for the New Zealand South. So Towse, for people who have never heard about you before, like how'd you get into 40k? And tell us about like so you're captain and rep. Like what else do we need to know about the Christchurch's finest?
Okay, so 40k is easy enough. I was in Wellington on a holiday. With my darling mother, and we went to see the Iron Man movie. Went in, watched that. It was cool. Came out, and we took a different exit out of the mall, and there was like this Games Workshop store there. And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." We walked in, and then played like a practice game of Battle for Macragge. So like the Tyranids and Ultramarines and like the Crash Shuttle and stuff. And then later that day. Bought one from a different store, but yeah. and that was like literally more than half my life ago now. And yep, did the whole took a break for a while, got back into it, the like cookie cutter 40k story, and now I've apparently just got way off the deep end because this tournament's my like second of 3 international 8-man team event tournaments that I've got this year. So yeah, that's happened. In terms of me being rep and captain, so it was a bit of a whirlwind that I didn't fully follow because I think Simon was the original rep for and based in Wellington and captain or something. And then I believe he's moving maybe out of the country. Upshot is something real life was happening with him, so he couldn't be captain and rep anymore. Cool, all good. Sean Sullivan of the Wellington scene got called in for a bit, but also I think had some less significant, like not moving away, but was busy with life or something or other. So he also couldn't go to the event or be captain or rep or some such. I ended up with a role, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm not very good at organizing things, but I'm relatively connected and invested in the hobby. So I've got like, about halfway there to being reasonable for the roles. And that's where we are. Is that the questions you asked?
All enough. You're here now, and you're repping the New Zealand South and bringing 8 lads across to hopefully do well. And few in the chat ask who's going to take the wooden spoon, but we don't need to worry about that because we always know New South Wales taking it, so it's completely fine. So it's all good.
That is a huge call.
Huge call. I mean,
huge call.
They're taking the 2020 aberrants at GSC. What is happening there? What's happening?
I have some questions about what this guy means by New Zealand Taz. Like, I feel like I should be upset by this.
I don't know, because I'd rather be in Tasmania than the rest of Australia. So,
yeah.
Not wrong. Too good. So, as we alluded to, so obviously New Zealand had a chance to actually attend the ANZ TC for a while because of COVID and like taking a bit back. So, how has this sort of preparation been going heading in? So, obviously a long time coming. I guess Michael, you can allude. So, how have you guys sort of got the team together, and like what have you guys done between I guess last you attended in 2019 till now? Is it the scene growing like insanely, or is it sort of being the same?
I think the competitive scene's grown quite a bit in New Zealand. We've started doing our thing and running our events and really trying to lift the competitive scene, especially here in Auckland. And I think we've done an okay job at that. So I think naturally rising tide lifts all boats. As a result of that, there's a whole bunch more players, that previously would have been, semi-competitive at smaller events that are now actually playing at a lot higher level because they're getting more exposure to more competitive events on proper terrain and all this kind of stuff. So we've had a bigger pool to pick from, which is great. Obviously, the last 3 years we haven't really hard committed because COVID's and New Zealand being very strict on leaving the country has made it pretty hard to really commit. This year was the first one where we were pretty confident that we were going to be able to send a team without any concerns of things being cancelled. So we were able, and we were quite lucky to be able to start picking the team. I can't remember exactly when Haydn we started to pick it, but I think it was sort of.
I feel like it was December last year, right?
Yeah, it was late last year we started picking the team. I think it was even earlier than that. We started actually the process. We took applications, I want to say maybe August. Finn being the captain and basically went through a process of pick a couple. That group helps pick the next, that group helps pick the next, and kind of led its way down there. So we're able to, and we had more applicants than players, which is always a nice position to be in, where we're picking from a wider pool rather than just saying we've got 8 players, we're going to have to take them and make it work. And so we're in that sort of position where we could pick a range of people, not just based on pure results, but we picked a mix of faction specialists like Haydn, very much an Eldar specialist, versus other people that can just flex into roles like myself, just play whatever I get given and figure it out. A mix of different play styles. So we're probably in a better position this year to be able to pick a better team than we would have otherwise in the last couple of years. And we've also had quite a few team events. I think Alex alluded to it. I mean, he's traveling for most of his, but even in New Zealand, we're running 2 team events a year now. The Wellington, Steve Joel and the Wellington boys have set up. They're doing 1 to 2 a year now. Christchurch sometimes does them. We've been down
I think
to one
we've
yet.
got fairly regular ones. Often the tournaments in Christchurch are a bit more narrative-y adjusted missions than the like North Islands. Like just we're doing 2K by the book stuff. But yeah, I think we have like one slightly different format team event and one more like serious competitive team event. If I like get less busy, maybe I'll look to host one as well. So yeah.
So we've had, I think, a lot more team exposure, which has been great for us in that prep and really trying to understand how teams work. And then obviously now with the borders being open, we've been able to travel internationally a bit more. So I think everyone on our team, except for Finn, who couldn't make it, attended VTC last year. So everyone but our captain.
And Doug Moore.
Was Doug Moore there?
No,
it wasn't. It was the 3 of us. That's right. Yeah, so most of us to play, and then obviously all of us went to, or all of us from Kraken went to LVO this year. So got a good range of experience. I think we're relatively prepared-ish coming into this year, maybe compared to other years. I'm not going to say we're overly prepared because, like everyone, the inner disputes in our chat have been are pretty intense at times.
Yeah, but to give you some level of credit of being prepared, apparently it was like late May you guys started the team process, because that's when I checked my message history with Finn, because I sent him one being like, hey, should I like sign up, because this is when we weren't sure if there'd be 1 or 2 teams, and he'd put out like a general call sort of message. So yeah, it's been a while.
So we're about a year in advance then, picking our team.
Close to it. Yeah, there was and then there was like some sort of consideration about like New Zealand South team forming, and we'd worked it out and having a split between Wellington and Christchurch, and then things changed.
So alluding to sort of New Zealand North and South splitting. So obviously Haydn, so he's the rep for New Zealand North, and Dale's always asked in the chat. So why is like New Zealand split into 2 groups? And is it to conquer Australia? Obviously, just take back the glory, take back first and second place. I mean, easy. And is this going to be a real dynamic? I guess it's something I want to say it's been in the charter for a while, but really hasn't come to fruition for a while. So I don't know, Haydn, could you elaborate more on that?
I could probably answer on that one, because I've been there right from the start when we were one team to when we've split up to multiple teams. And so looking back at the history of it, like when we first did it, New Zealand North has always probably supplied the large majority of the team. So and so it's always made it really difficult for us to prepare for our events. And I know in Australia, your guys' geography is well spread out, but I think something probably internationally, what the world maybe doesn't realize, is that it's really expensive to travel in New Zealand, like really expensive. So for us to go to Wellington for a weekend, we could bang $1,000 on that and not have any change. And then our wages aren't that high anyway. So for us to prepare and try and do things as a team, it's extremely difficult, and financially just isn't really viable. So it became really hard for us to have a cohesive team when we're trying to do it across these massive distances that are really hard to travel in between. And I know that, Queensland probably has the same issue with their guys down in Brisbane, getting right up to the top of their state and stuff like that. I do appreciate that, but we're also one country, and we made that decision, we can split it, and we've decided on taking the 2 most populous areas. So we went from Taupo North, which is where the big lake is in the middle of the North Island, and the rest of that south, which covers the 2 big centres of Christchurch and Wellington. And what it means is that...
I was going to say, the logic there of Taupo is it's like a sort of splitting point, and also it's about even population split north and south of there, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if we split New Zealand in half population-wise, Taupo North is basically half the population. The other reason as well is that, from my point of view, is that Christchurch weren't getting a fair look in as well. So we're running this New Zealand team, but really it was the North Island team. And I can tell you now from previous experiences going back in the past, no Christchurch people ever even came up on the radar or had we didn't have any inkling of taking any Christchurch people, which kind of, they have a massive community down there, and they have big events, and it was just a really big disservice to them. So splitting it in two gave them the opportunity to form that team as well. And Towse's done a really good job there and getting some people over. And it's just gonna. What will happen is, I can guarantee you this, is they're going to go over this time, and they're going to get like a taste of blood, and they're going to want to come back and come back and come back, because that's what happens. Like, I remember going over to my first one thinking, oh yeah, what's this all going to be about? And, for me, it was quite a pricey endeavor back then when I was just a young fella. And I was like, oh my God, as soon as I finished it, I was like, we're going back next year. Let's start planning it, So that's part of it. It's going to help New Zealand grow its scene as well. So, it's going to help us evolve and get better. And it's going to bring the South along more for the journey, because unfortunately it was heavily favoured in the North.
To poke a bit of fun, because I feel like that's just necessary. It's definitely a very you can tell the North Islanders came up with a split, because they called New Zealand South, but it still includes like North Islanders in there, so they can still dilute it some more. Even though we've got like the really, really obvious split of we've got two bloody main islands, like the North Island and the South Island.
If you want to, Twilesy, you can introduce that to the charter next year, that we just split it.
I know, that would be horrible for literally everyone involved. You don't want me trying to propose any sort of
just elongate it. New Zealand South of Otapo. That's the whole region name, and including ex-Rick country or city, so South county. So that sort of so obviously ANZ Team Champs is normally state-based for Australia, so which translate, or state and territory based, which translate well, but in New Zealand it's obviously a bunch of regions like Canterbury, and it doesn't translate as well at this stage to it. So that's the way North and South Island split.
Sort of works quite well at the moment, because it's translated to Canterbury and Auckland Northland as the two teams, but that's a little bit more because there was plans to have the Wellington guys involved and they bailed, and that's most of where the main centres of 40k are. There's a bit of other stuff.
It's almost like our Super Rugby franchises. It's like we've got the Blues and then we've got the Crusaders,
Wellington Hurricanes, never heard of them. Dunedin, never heard of them.
It really shows how long it's been since I paid attention to Super Rugby, because last I was actually paying attention, Blues were rubbish. Maybe that hasn't changed, but
slightly less bad than rubbish. They just won. I was watching them before we came on here. They just won, so there we go.
If we split to region, but it was against Australians, so I mean, doesn't really count.
But
anyway, rugby anyway. Let's not talk about league, but
but that's great. Obviously, hopefully the first year for the New Zealand South to attend, which is fantastic, and then hopefully also with that taste of blood, more Dunedin people from Dunedin, which is the south of the South Island, and it's very, very close to the south of the South Island. And people from Wellington to attend next year, and it'll just grow the scene, which is fantastic. So So Towse, obviously first year captaining, first year leading. But you've had a bunch of experience actually leading up to this. So tell us, so you were able to merc for Team Sweden at Home Nations. So what was that experience like, being one of the 8 players for Team Sweden and going through that process for your first 8-man team event?
Yeah, so it was great. The guys were awesome to hang out with, and it was a great opportunity, just the whole ordeal. So given that, so Home Nations, I guess, since people might not be aware of it, is it's like the secret team event that's meant to be prep for WTC for like the nations of the British Isles. So England, Scotland, Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, and Wales. Plus, then they invite Belgium, so that they have 6. And then recently, they've had 2 invite countries. This year being the Netherlands and Sweden. Someone's got something echoing. They managed to, the organizing team were going to have someone other than Sweden invited at first, but they couldn't make it, and then realized late, we haven't actually extended an invite to the Swedes. So that meant the Swedes could only make it short notice, needed some mercenaries, and independently I ended up in Europe for uni stuff and then spent some time with a friend on Team Scotland. So that's how I got in with the invite, and that was great. The process to actually organize it, since it was a bit of a haphazard team, people were mostly going, okay, well, what are people comfortable with, this, that, and the other? I had done quite well with my Chaos Knights at Uprising Adelaide and said, well, I could take these along and be comfortable. and that's what we went with because we thought it was good, and that went really well. I ended up top scoring for the team, so that was cool. I got given, or at least for the first 3 rounds, got given like it was like a sparkly bunny ears thing that was originally a tradition for the team, the worst performing player of each round, but then decided that was rude, so they gave it to the top performing one. So I got to wear that for a while. Then I got paired into guard and went second, and lost the privilege. But yeah, that's a sort of hopefully entertaining tangenty rundown of home nations.
Yeah. So how was it though? So obviously that was your first time attending an 8-man team event. Did you learn anything special from it? Like, was there something different that Europeans were doing versus what you sort of done locally or via TTS? Because I know you played a bunch of TTS tournaments as well.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe it's wrong in saying this, but I didn't notice anything that different really. I mean, I know all the time people go like, "Oh my gosh, the insert named like player here or whatever," right? Like there was, like this was shortly after Nassim had just won Adepticon, I believe, and he was like there walking around. He likes Tim Tams, by the way. I brought some of them to make friends, and he was like coming back to get them. So that sort of thing of like that, these sort of celebrity players, but they're just, like people say, they're still playing the same rules and that sort of thing, right? Like I then hung out with Innes and Chris back in Scotland for a while afterwards, and like they're just they're normal people playing the game. Innes from Scotland, along with Brian and Chris, lovely guys, so shout out to them. But yeah, it's just they're playing with the same rules and same models and everything. They just play more games potentially. So that was really cool. I didn't get as involved in the pairings process because the main Swedish captain and co-guys were doing that, and for the whole secrecy thing, they were speaking in Swedish, so that the whole you can propose things and talk about stuff. So I just sort of sat there, and after they'd like said something, it seemed like a sentence. I was like, oh yeah, because after the first team dinner, that started to happen when people would say something in Swedish. You'd just be like, oh yeah, and that got a good laugh out of the people if you timed it right, because you have no idea what they're saying. But so less of the pairing sort of process information, but it was just like some good practice games.
Ah, fantastic. I'm sure you dropped some IKEA references on. You did your best Swedish chef impression. I'm sure they fully understood it.
I did neither of those, but what I did do is I provided my own scuffed Team Sweden shirt because I thought it would be funny, and the team agreed, which is nice. Where I bought like a $10 shirt from the mall and had some yellow spray paint and spray painted myself like a Swedish flag on the t-shirt. It was it was well received. Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
And some of the Irish lads, they decided that I needed a Swedish name, so I believe I was Eric Eriksson.
Beautiful. So, that sounds majestic, and I'm sure you should put that as your actual BCP name and adopt your new identity. It's like that. But
no.
as well, so obviously no. But you weren't the only person to travel internationally. I know. So earlier on this year, after Uprising, so Michael and Haydn, as well as some other lads from New Zealand, you guys attended LVO. So going to the USA and show up what's up. So Michael, how was that experience? And Haydn, you can follow after. What was it like attending Uprising? Uprising, apologies, LVO, playing a format which you guys actually been playing a bit with, but with a completely different terrain in the FLG style, but still playing player play. So, Michael, what was that experience like? And do you think that helped you heading into now the ANZTC?
As a spectacle, it was amazing. We had an awesome time. Very cool event and a great spectacle to go to. Part of it for me was that I traveled the US for 3 weeks prior to, almost actually 4 weeks prior to LVO. So part of my decision was I had to take a army that is very portable, because I don't want to have to carry it around 5 different states with me and just break everything. So that did limit what I took, and I also went, well, I'm going to be very tired at the end of a long trip. I also need something that's easy to pilot. So very much went in with the idea of, look, I'm not going to take the most hyper-competitive list I've got because it's just going to travel awfully. I'm going to do something a little bit more that I've been practicing with that's a little bit different, and just enjoy the experience of it, and just test myself, see what I can do against, a different scene, different terrain. I have to say, once you got into it, until the breaks in the games, you kind of just got lost in the moment of it all, and then, it seemed just like any normal game, no different to anywhere else, and then suddenly you look up and you just play as far as the eye can see. I'll try to be like, where's Finn? Finn and I are like 6'6" monsters. Usually I can spot him from a mile away. You just can't see him anywhere at all. So you have to go wandering. You have to text him, be like, what table are you on? But then that's useless because there's so many tables and the setup made no sense. So it's like, okay, just where are you in relation to the room? Where are you? Let's meet at the stage. And I was really very lucky to be able to play on the FLG stream on the stage round one. Unfortunately, the stream was pretty unstable for the first hour-ish. But you got to catch the middle bit where all the action happened, but then not the end where I won. So there you go. And then most importantly, Haydn and I played the most important, prestigious event in Vegas, the Long War Doubles,
Yeah.
where it was like 95% paint and sports score.
So you were carrying on the paint, and you just had to try and make Haydn not tank your sports score, I assume?
What? Well,
Whoa.
I took Ultramarines because why not? Haydn took Yanari, but Haydn lost to Ultramarines in the actual event, in the Champs event. He lost to Ultramarines. He'll try to bullshit you and tell you that it was, an Art of War player and all this stuff, but he lost to Ultramarines. So we decided that night he had to switch. So I piloted the Yanari for the first time ever, and he piloted the Ultramarines. And I mean, we went 3-0 and got top of battle points, but our paint and sports score, despite bribing our opponents with New Zealand chocolates and shot glasses and dice, turns out wasn't enough. Because some people bought like display boards with running water rivers going down them, and like smoke machines, and like, portals with demons half coming out of them that were like nuts. So
you're just like, guys, we had to get on a plane to get here. Help.
Yeah, I was like, I've traveled for 40 hours to get here. Between the different modes of transports I've taken planes, buses, trains, driven, all sorts. I'm just here so that I have something to do on Sunday because I'm not going to make the top 8. So.
Oh, that sounds like an awesome experience. So I mean, Haydn. So obviously, how was LVO? But then also with Dale asking, what's the quality of the terrain like? So obviously, we heard a bit of like kerfuffle online about FLG terrain, and the Poms wouldn't stop whinging about it. But like, how was the event, and like, how did you find the terrain there?
Just preface that with Poms complain about absolutely everything. So it doesn't really matter. The terrain could have been the best quality standard terrain in the world, and the Poms would have been like, "Oh, this was shit." Yeah, so
it was too heavy.
Yeah, it was too heavy. So there's that. Get that out of the way straight away. No, look, the terrain is what the terrain was. I mean, shit, I wouldn't want to have to make how many tables they have to make? 500 tables, and I'm not making excuses for them. Like, they're a professional company, and they should have the funds and the money to actually do it and do a really good job. Some of the tables were absolute crap. Some of the tables were perfectly fine. So, and some of them, were just what you'd expect, really. But I've played in some tournaments that have been absolute bowling balls. So the fact that I actually got to place the terrain and create my own deployment zone at least gave you some form of control over your destiny a little bit, I guess, and created less feel bad feelings. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't. If you got put on one of those crap tables, and of course it's random, bugger. And if you're playing against Tau, and you happen to be a combat army, good luck. You're not going to win that. You're just going to get shot off the board before you even get there. I think was it Jack Harpster mentioned it when he was talking about it, how he won it with Blood Angels, but he said he was very lucky not to come across, Tau on some of those open tables, and he just got that luck of the draw type stuff. I'm sure he's a good enough player that he would have possibly won his way out of it anyway. But yeah, I mean, I didn't have too many issues with the tables I played on. I was using Twilight Harlequins. Yeah, I could hide most of my army, most games. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive when I'm taking I think it was 9 boats or whatever it was. So, can't complain about that. But overall, like, the experience was very similar to Michael's. It's definitely the biggest event I've ever been to. I don't think anyone can ever say they've been to a bigger one than that. But what I found was amazing, exactly what Michael said, is that when you get into the game, it's like we're speaking a common language amongst our fellow nerds across the world, and it's like once you start rolling dice, it all just becomes about that little table that you're on and your little plastic men. And then you look up and you're like, holy shit, there's a lot of people in this room. And normally I could lean across the table and, give my mate a lovely little sack tap, but at this one, it was like, you can't even see them. So, watch out, Towse. You're getting done at the next event, mate.
That is not the rules that you explained. That's not the rules of engagement.
We're international. International. All rules are off.
Yeah.
The charter is only for New Zealand.
Well, I've got no policing powers in Australia, so I don't care. I'm off the hook. I can do what I want.
It's all right. I befriended
although we can be citizens over there now,
Captain
so that's pretty cool.
Space Marine sized police officer in Aussie, so I might have some backup.
Nice. But I'd go back to LVO, but I'd go back for not so much the tournament itself. Like, there's a lot of fun, but just going there and like, the environment of the tournament, I guess, more.
Go for the event, not the and the spectacle, not the actual like tournament and game sort of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, and meeting people that you talk to online and all that stuff. Just seems to be a melting pot of everyone goes there. So
I think you just have to set your expectations right going into something like that. I know the Fireside chat boys called out that there was a Sisters terrain that wasn't in the pack. I can't remember. I didn't read it clearly enough, but
I think it was more if you made it to the top 8, Michael, or like to the top tables, you got to play on them. So that might explain
it was a lot more on the top tables because it was on the stream table. So I played on it the first round, and it's a fine table. But I think for the other ones, it was set your expectations. I knew they weren't going to be the best for what I was taking, but so I knew that going in and wasn't upset because of it. Yeah, some of them were pretty crap, but I set my expectations low. They were just met, so I think that's a lot of it with it, right? Is they definitely didn't call out everything, but for everything else, read the players pack, understand what you're getting yourself into, because then you can't be disappointed. You can only be disappointed yourself, and do what some people did and just take gun lines and go first.
That's all you can hope for, right? Or you say
also, sorry, the romantic dinners with Michael, where we got hit on by old men trying to get us to seduce his wife and talking about lingerie and stuff like that was just outstanding. Like, those are the moments that you live for. That's why you go to tournaments. Romantic dinners with your friends. Yeah,
overlooking the Bellagio fountain thing of Oceans. If you've watched that, it was beautiful.
It was. And we'll never see them again. We'll never see them again. It's Vegas. We won't see them, and then they're in our hotel.
There were not any such romantic views in Home Nations in the lovely Wrexham, Wales. So unfortunately, can't relate there.
You did get to see Ryan Reynolds and his coat.
We went past the stadium where that joke was in fact made, because I think that's about the only relevant thing about Wrexham, Wales. But yeah.
Oh, too good. Oh, well, some fun international ventures for sure. And well, glad to hear you guys had a fun time at LVO, and I'm looking forward to hearing I'm sure more of you guys recap eventually, maybe hopefully when the Kraken cast comes back. Fingers crossed, right?
When I start editing stuff, it's been pretty busy. Safe to say, it's been pretty busy.
Nah, all good, more than fair. So obviously, today list went live for all across the ANZ Team Champs, and you guys revealed your lineup. So maybe Towse, starting with you first. So how have you guys selected your players? So you've got 8 New Zealand South people attending, and what's your lineups looking like overall? So who have you got on what?
Yeah, okay. So initially we had planned to have 4 guys from Wellington, but with the previously mentioned sort of deal with basically life got in the way for, I think, 3 of the Wellington guys, and the other guys are like, I don't really want to be the sort of one out of towner. So yeah, originally we'd had myself, John McLaughlin, Francis McLaughlin, not related, different spelling. Anyway, and I believe it was Alec at the time, who we were lined up to be the sort of contingent from Christchurch. Then Wellington couldn't make it, so I'm like, okay, I'm now both in charge and short half a team and bad at organising things. Let's see how this goes. And so asked around, put a bit of a post out, got some limited feedback on that, found basically a bit of word of mouth around locally, got a few people. We got a couple of, we started asking people that had come up for NZTC, the New Zealand Team Champs in the past. So we've got, I believe, 6 of the team have been in the sort of South Island team that's gone up for that twice. So that will be myself, John, Francis, Aaron, Hugh, and who am I blanking on? Jeremy. So we're all on the team. Then Alec, who is a sort of younger guy locally, who's sort of, he's gone from being a perennial sort of best sports winner to like he's getting a bit better at and winning some events and that sort of thing. And as he's finding out, not getting as many sports votes, which is amusing. He's still a lovely guy. And then his flatmate, who was scheduled, I think, to go to Aussie for like a competitive like fighting video game tournament, but that got cancelled. So he's like, hey, I'm free now. So that's the lineup, a little bit of an insight. So while the team is a little bit opportunistic, we've all got some experience. We've all got a pretty good attitude, and more or less people are on lists and factions that they're comfortable on, and we feel reasonable, like we're reasonably happy with. There are some compromises due to the whole not everyone can play everything, and there's some level of limited model availability. But I feel like it's a definitely, given the circumstances, a good lineup instead of both for players and factions and familiarity with those. So I don't know if you want to go into a bit more detail about what we're running, Sam, or is that worth doing now?
Yeah, we can go a quick overview if you like. So you've got Aaron on Custodes, you've got Alec on Tau, you've got yourself on Chaos Knights, Francis on World Leaders, Hugh on Sisters, Jacob on Yunari, Jeremy on Orcs, and then John on Iron Hands. So a good lineup there. Have you found, so obviously you got a bunch of new players attending this year. How have they found transitioning from, I guess, the traditional GW game to this WTC setting with various FAQ, differentials, and teams as a whole? Like, have they found it a weird transition, or they've adapted pretty well?
So I guess some of it, there's possibly like we should get more into the like. We've probably got people in the team not completely familiar with the FAQs and that sort of thing. One, because it's a reasonably like exhaustive document, or multiple now because of the faction things. And the terrain I've made us a set, because when you can make terrain, it means you can be like, hey, we need to practice for this. I'm gonna design and cut out a set. So we've at least got a sort of WTC set that has been like doing the rounds, bouncing around between players to get practice games on and that sort of thing. Teams, as mentioned, 6 of the 8 have already played a team event before. It was 5-man teams with New Zealand, but still, we have had experience, so that's good. The other 2 guys they are a bit newer, but I think they've done some teams events in Christchurch, but like they've got a fantastic attitude. So yeah, not really worried about it on that front. So that's sort of how we've been adapting. We've also one of our strategies to adapt and deal with things is we haven't yet, because levels of disorganization, because it's sort of like, all right, what are we doing? Can we get the models for these armies and that sort of thing, stuff like that. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, that's good. So we have one question in the chat from Futo, one of the Tau New South Wales players, or the Tau New South Wales player. Double ghost kill. So with Alex list, is that lack of models or intentional choice or a trade secret?
It's definitely not trade secret. No, I think so. Okay,
I'm pretty sure he's.
to-
You go to Alex. You go to Alex.
Yeah, so to be transparent, Alec has Tau and is a Tau player. So some of it is that's the models he have. So potentially the specific loadouts on them might be model availability. But no, it was a considered choice to some extent. Like it's not like we weren't happy with it. So no, but it's overall mostly intentional choice. Some of the choice is, okay, cool, let's have Alec write a list to sort of try do this based off of various other things. And we're like, yep, looks good. To be open, we were considering whether or not he runs Tau, which he's familiar with, or hard pivots the guard, which he hasn't played. And we chose not to do that because he's got like, it was like 60 to 70% of his one of his uni courses is due. He's got to do an assignment in the next week or something like that. I don't remember the exact specifics, but basically he's getting slammed by uni next week. So, and then the week after we're traveling, I think. So, you know, a whole lot of real life is getting in the way, but keen to play hammers internationally.
More than fair, more than fair. So Michael, so obviously got the New Zealand North team. So go through the players on your team and like any newcomers to the scene, and also like guess what you're playing.
Cool. So no real newcomers. We're obviously we went through a full selection process, and the team we've ended up picking essentially consists of players from our play group and another one that we play closely with, and that have usually one team events when we haven't. We've kind of taken it in turns winning team events between us. So we've got a fairly...
You guys have taken terms beat it, like one-upping the Christchurch teams that have come up, right?
Yeah, they usually win when we're not there, is what they like to joke. So going down the list, we've got Alex Dugmore. He is on Space Wolves. That was a bit of a late change post data slate. He was hovering between Iron Hands, Dark Angels, Space Wolves, and we landed on Space Wolves. He did some very nasty things to me with them last weekend. I did not enjoy that. Charlie King is on Guard. He's been playing Guard now basically this year since the book came out. He's won the last 4 events that he's been to. 2 of them are team events. It's not like he's won all the singles events, but he's been on a little bit of a tear. He's been playing very well, so glad that he's on that faction. We've got the wonderful Dan Haydn. He's jumped around a whole bunch of stuff. He's playing Genestealer Cult mostly because he got bullied into it. But it's also one of his core factions. So he's kind of a mini Eric, which is ironic, but because he's probably twice his height, roughly.
They might still be less than Eric's weight, though.
Oh, for sure. He's an absolute like stick. Like, we've got Finn, glorious captain. It says he's playing Sisters. He is playing Demons. He's been playing those for a while now, so pretty safe faction for him. Hayden, on this call, he's playing Ulthway Eldar. Don't know what they do. They're just elves. I thought there was one list, and then like a day before list submission, he's like, "I'm playing 10 Wraithguard," and it was like, "All right, you do you." James Wardell, the Waddler, he is playing Chaos Knights. Again, he was picked as a bit of a faction specialist. That's what he's been playing for probably at least a year now. So we were pretty happy with him.
Since he copied it off my NZTC list.
Pretty much. I will say it's not a copy of what you're taking.
No, it's different now.
What he's taking. Yeah, we've told it a little bit differently. But he's been playing a similar list for a while now. Liam Herbert was in the team as a bit of a faction specialist on Knights. We've pivoted him off onto Necrons. And then myself being an Imperium. Yep. And then myself being a Imperium specialist that's playing Orcs.
We always know Orcs are Imperium loyal to the Imperium, right? Right?
They're the goodest guys in 40k. All they want to do is have fun. They are arguably the best. They are arguably the truest good faction in the game. They have no bad intent.
They used to be able to ally with the Imperium at some stage. Like, I'm sure that used to be a thing.
I don't think I was born when that was a rule.
If they could, they would ally with the Imperium to go after Angron for what he did to Old Ally.
They'd go with anyone. They're just there
All
for
right,
a good time.
we're not turning this into a law thing, all right? Let's...
This is a law show now. We're a rugby show initially, now a law show. Then what happens next? Nah. So how did you guys select this line? So Haydn. So obviously you had a sort of a blend of faction specialists and I guess some role players. Like, how did you guys sort of go around selecting the players? Obviously, skill plays a component, but was it mostly like the faction, or was it how they play the game? Like, you knew they'd be a good shield or a good sword, or how did you guys like go around selecting these players and assigning factions? And it sounds like you also had a bit of tinkering with their lists, but you left some of them to go, I know what you trust you enough to know what the fuck to do.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of just like with Dan Haydn, for example, on GSC. There's a little bit of, Dan, you've been playing GSC for a while. You're good with GSC. You're playing GSC. Stop being a snowflake. Like, just get on with it. All right.
So the opposite of our experience with Francis, then.
Yeah, and to be fair, in selecting the players, we decided to go with players that were good at the game over players that were necessarily good at certain factions, because our philosophy was that we can, within certain respects, you can train or teach somebody to play a faction. But if they don't understand the game and the core mechanics of how to actually win a game, then they're not. Doesn't matter what faction they're on, they're not going to do well. Sorry, we've had COVID in the house for the last week, so still bloody terrorizing us over here in New Zealand. So then it was more about, and then trying to pick the factions. It's that bloody data slate, man. Oh my God, wasn't that the bane of our existence? So, like for me, I was always going to play Eldari of some description. So, and I was lucky, I had 3 books. Michael's a little bit different. He's gone on a bit of a roller coaster ride from Custodes, Sisters, Admech, Votan, back to Orcs, of course. So
there was more stuff in there as well. Every day it was like Finn and Dan were like, "Hey, is there a good list in this army? Do you want to go figure out if this is worth taking?"
Tau. Should we look at Tau? So yeah, and then there's obviously so Charlie has been playing guard since the start of this year, and he went 3 tournaments in a row, just crushing people left, right, and centre. Was it 4 tournaments?
4.
Was it?
We crushed down Wellington teams a couple of weekends ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah, as well. Yeah, crushed down on Wellington.
Yeah,
so why wouldn't you have him on Imperial Guard? He obviously knows the codex. He's beaten some of our best players in New Zealand as well. So unfortunately, they're not coming to the event, but he beat some of them using it. So he's a solid pick for that. So you just do it. Michael and Liam were probably the strangest in terms of the factions that they're playing. I'd never imagined Michael as an Orc player, but there he is. And Liam has played, I've known him as a bit of an Imperium player, so he's always played either Space Marines or Knights, but now we've got him on Necrons. But to be fair, he's doing really well with them. He's adapted really well. He understands what his plan is. And, I think, we've learned a lot as a team over the last couple of years, including our previous experience, because quite a few of us were in the last ANZ TC team. So we've taken a lot of learnings from that. And I think we know what we need to do to try and, push a bit harder this time. So, because the last time we attended, we didn't do that great, but a lot of our games were 1 point off being a draw for the whole round. So, which was really frustrating. But yeah, this year I'm hoping that we can push a bit harder. So,
can relate to that. Home nation Sweden was, I think, a combined 4 points off of winning 2 rounds that we drew. It was 1 and 3 in our first and third rounds, which was, it's gutting when that happens, hey?
Yeah, it sure is. Did I answer your question there, Sam? Was it?
In a roundabout way, absolutely. You definitely answered it all the way, so it was all good. So we talked about
Sam's too keen. He's just going to ask these massive questions, and it happens every show. Even when he's he's asking podcast questions for other submitting them for other networks, and it's just Sam has done all of the questions, and they've got 3 clauses and multiple bullet points and stuff like that. So you're oh boy, sit there for a bit and be okay, let's try and answer.
I'm just waiting for the juicy questions, I want the ones where it's and who are you going to put out first? And...
No. Okay, here's a better one. What's your rooming arrangement? Have you guys booked your accommodation, that sort of thing?
Oh yeah. Yes, I can answer all of these because I'm the admin bitch for this team. Because if I didn't do it, nothing would get done. We wouldn't even turn up.
No, I'd be sleeping in a car. I'll turn up. I'll just be sleeping in a car. It's all right.
True, we'll be sleeping in the rental cars that we wouldn't have. 'Cause I organised them. We're in like a resort. Like we've got these. It turned out to be like the cheapest thing that was nearby, and I can tell because I book team trips for all of us all the time. Sleeping like 8 people is a fucking nightmare. Because everyone wants their own bed. No one wants to cuddle with me in a single. So
I'll happily cuddle with you, Michael. You don't snore.
We'll relive LVO days. No, I've been told I'm pretty good to room with actually. No, so it's really annoying. So we found these cool like bungalow things in some resort that's like 5 minutes from the venue, and we're like, that's the key part. So I don't know what it's called, but we're there and we've got even a spare bed. So. If someone just wants to come and
dare I ask, how much is it per night? I might need to like fire our admin guys.
It averaged out to 190 per player for the entire weekend.
That's pretty good.
It's like four nights, so $45 a night, roughly. Like
it was like $60. It's like $60 a night, roughly. Some of us paid more for queen beds. Some of us paid less for the top bunk.
Yeah, it is a pain to organise eight people to stay at places.
9.
That awkward number. Oh, 9.
Lucky enough to be bringing a 9th man. So we haven't really shouted him out, but shout out to Ben Clark, ex-winner of Masters in New Zealand. Took a bit of a break from the game. He's coming back. Didn't come back in time to make the team. But we said if you're serious about getting back in the competitive scene, come and be our captain and stand in for us if someone...
Coach.
Captain, sorry, coach, not captain. Yeah, so he's there as our coach, 9th man, drinks boy, backup player, motivational speaker.
Perfect. Everything you'll ever need.
I'm just remembering the last iconic thing that I remember Ben Clark doing when around Haydn at a team's event. No, we're not going into that one?
Yeah, he punched him, so...
Yeah.
Oh
dear.
So we mentioned that before. So Haydn mentioned like the data slate just threw your team a bit for a tailspin per se. Towse, did you experience a similar thing when the data slate dropped? Did your team significantly change, or were there some like last minute adjustments?
I don't think so. So like I was pretty well set on being on Chaos Nights because I'd been like for a bunch of practical reasons, like I've been practice on them. I have transport for them available. They're a reasonable army to try and run as a captain because it's like a bit less going on, so I can like try and do captain things. The Jeremy has always been an Orcs player and is solid on them, and they are in a good spot. I think the main thing was the considering of guard. Was one of them. We didn't know John maybe could have, because we'd had him penciled in on Iron Hands, but we weren't sure what was going to happen. Because he's typically a bug specialist, but has done some Iron Hands and TTS stuff. We weren't quite sure what was going to happen there. But when Iron Hands were, in our opinion, basically not touched by the data slate, we're like, cool, that's still happening. So that's why I've got like Sniper Scouts and Desolation Marines and stuff like that sitting around to be painted up. So that was that. We considered like some broadsides and Alex list for like because they got core, but didn't go for it for reasons. But ultimately, no, I don't think anything happened too much. We were thinking maybe guard would get toned down a bit more. They basically didn't. So that's why we were sort of, okay, maybe we should have that, but didn't because went for a level of faction familiarity rather than, taking the ideal list. And we'd need to source the bottles. I feel like France is probably, some of his like World Eater adventures were a bit related to the data slate, but yeah, because if something else had got buffed, it'd probably be on that.
More than fair. No, fantastic. I'm glad to hear you guys able to not change too much, but still able to source the armies and models.
Yeah, like we were definitely waiting impatiently for it, but fortunately we were poised about ready for it because it's not like so Dark Angel's got hit on the head real bad, but we were never really considering them. What else? Did anything else that significant happen? I feel like it wasn't too much. Oh, GSC got like a light touch as well, but we don't have like a super dedicated GSC player. That was one of the armies Francis were considering, but I was like, yep, but in 2 weeks you're gonna like practice to a standard on this compared to something else, and then fortunately he found World Eaters fun anyway, so we were right.
Yeah.
No,
Fantastic. So Hayden's obviously the list been live for a little bit now. So have you or the team found anything unique in some of the other teams' lineups or lists, like something that's caught your eye and like, oh, this looks interesting, or what is this?
To be honest, I haven't seen anything myself. I haven't heard anything from the chat. Michael, have you seen anything that's kind of Simon Gorgord? I can't say his name. Simon Gorkovich's Eldar list. Like he's always got interesting builds, and I found that one interesting, especially with the amount of characters in it. But nothing too out there yet that I've seen.
I haven't had a chance because I've been out at an RTT all day and then got home, ate dinner, and came to do this. So, no, I've only seen what's in the chat, which was mostly just us trying to sort Dugmore out. So
Dugmore's illegal list.
Made
his illegal list.
Was it illegal?
Yeah.
Or was it just,
he just
missing
paid, He paid for his wallet trait that he didn't note down, like a fool.
Yeah.
Like an absolute fool.
Hey, look,
Anyway.
I'm not going to criticize. We were like 2 of the 3 lists that were not in on time, so whoops. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And you can't even blame like the time zone difference because it's like 9 o'clock New Zealand time is well and truly in advance of 9 o'clock Australian
No, okay,
time.
so it slightly was that because we fucked up in a different way. It was one of the guys that's normally organized within the team, thought it was 9 Aussie, therefore midnight our time. They thought it was 3 hours, not 2 different.
So you waited till the very last. You waited till less than an hour to go before you submitted it, not just like the old throw a list in so you've got one in just in case.
I was like at 11:03 doing the edits to the sisters list to go in. I thought Alec had his in, but he's always like a muppet with his shit anyway. Like when I'm running tournaments and stuff, I literally made him a dunce cap because he was like everyone else had got stuff in, and he had not submitted lists in either of the 2 options nor paid. While everyone else in my tournament was sorted. So that one doesn't surprise me. I think we did pretty well to get it within the next hour. So yeah.
What's in the water at Canterbury? I don't know what's going on there, but unbelievable.
Don't ask.
Don't ask. They make a good rugby team. Well, the Crusaders used to be good, but we'll stay on topic.
Yes. Why do you keep bringing this back to rugby, dude?
I love the Crusaders. The Canterbury Crusaders are my favourite rugby union team. Look at the line.
Wow. Okay.
Love Richie McCaw and Dan Carter.
You don't play for them anymore.
I know.
That's a while, dude.
Still love them. Anyways, so a few that also mentioned chat. So GSC, Marines, Guard, Demons, Orcs are all pretty considered top tier. Were you surprised with how many Eldar Tower at the event? So maybe Hayden, were you surprised with the Eldar at the event? That's true. Yannari players. You're not one of them. What's happening? Tell us at core.
I wanted to. I went on a Drukari little like this could be good, Finn. This could be funny. Is like it could be good. He was like no, and I was like, what about Yannari? And so he made me do a spreadsheet with Yannari and Ultway and do all the pair ups. And I was like, there's only 1 point, and I love playing Yannari. And he's like, there's 1 point, Hayden. You're taking Ultway. I don't care about your feelings. I was like, oh, cold. Wow, but he is German, so there's that German efficiency, if
hang on, so yeah, Ulthway rather than like Hail or Swift Strikes though?
Yeah, there's reasons, Charzy.
Okay.
Great secret.
Is it snowflake reasons? Is it because I
like Eldredge pretty much.
And 10? Okay, I can respect Pimp Daddy as being the reason, to be honest.
Yeah, it's the only reason.
Okay, that's fair. Cool.
Perfect. So awesome. So lists are out. And we're heading and preparing for the event. So, Mr. Towse, who are you expecting to be on the podium? And then maybe who do you expect is going to take the wooden spoon this year?
So I'll start with the wooden spoon. It's a little bit tough because you're not actually playing for them, only coaching. So it might be harder for you to sandbag. But I think ACT still needs to be on taking the spoon. And then not sure order of the podium. Probably just Queensland's going to win it. And unfortunately, I think New Zealand North might be above us on the podium there as well. But no, I don't know. I don't know an exact sort of idea. I feel like most of the a bit less of a joke answer. I do think Queensland's probably got it because they've got like 5 or 6 WTC players in there, and Aussie WTC team's pretty good. So that, and then New South Wales, I assume would usually be up there. Otherwise, I think everything else has got there's a serious chance for everyone. The North team of New Zealand, you guys do actually have a pretty sound, solid roster. I'd rate you guys to I want one of the New Zealand teams to podium.
Of course.
If not
So
both.
when we play, you'll just throw to push us up, right? Superiority and just pump our scores.
We'll see. So yeah, that, and then I don't know, but everything in the middle. See, now I'm going. I don't know with the rankings, Hayden. All right. Well, I do know what's going to happen when we play, but I'm just being quiet about it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a strong talk, Towse. But Michael, who do you think's going to be on the podium? So obviously, I think you guys are going to beat the South easily. But who else is going to be on the podium with you?
I don't think. I think it's going to be a straight. I think we have to play very well to get on the podium. I think New South Wales and Queensland are locked for podiuming. I don't know where they'll come. And then I think between Queensland, Mercs, Vic, ourselves, and then unfortunately I just don't know enough about the rest of the teams to comment on where the rest will be. But I think those two are locked for first. There's 3 there that are kind of in the contention for third. And then, the rest will play it as it is. So that's my rough pick.
Fair enough. How about yourself, Hayden? Any bold predictions?
Yeah. I'm boring. I'm going the same. I think, you look at Queensland's lineup, you think that's pretty good. I actually think the Merc team as well from Queensland is pretty. It's got a pretty decent team there, which is pretty scary in itself. New South Wales, some great players in there. Western Australia, they're always solid and they always bring it too. So I wouldn't be surprised if they pip a couple of those teams as well. And like I said before we started recording, there's so many names that I don't know though. So, feel out of place. For us, for New Zealand North, if we're realistic, I'd love to see us get into the top 5. I'd see that as success, 100%. If we get onto the podium, fantastic. If we win it, man, I'll be at the strip club that night, boys, and drinks will be on me. So, I'll be making an absolute fool of myself. I'll be tapping into my mortgage, maxing that out, and
There we go. And we can when we get back home.
Don't have to go back home at that point. I'll just join the Queensland police. Done with it.
There we go. Live it up. The happy days. So as we wrap things up, before we close things off, so Towse, any final shout outs or plugs that you want to have?
Oh, I probably should have some, but I'm not organised. I think that's the theme of the team, isn't it?
I mean, that's all right. First year. So,
that's all I got.
That's all right. No worries. But we do, have one question. Apologies. So maybe Hayden, you can answer. If you were to travel over to New Zealand for one event each year, which event would you recommend? Obviously, apologies. We could ask Hayden and Michael one event in the North Island, and then one event for you, Towse, in the South Island, maybe, or just one event in general.
I've got 2. So
go, Hayden.
Sorry, it's because one's a team's event. So one would be the New Zealand Team Champs that we run every year. It's awesome. We had 70 players at it last year, and we're hoping to grow it. So it's a great event. It's 5-man teams. And then the other one would be the Kraken GT, which is what we call our the North Island Premier event for competitive gaming in Auckland. So it's nice and easy to fly into Auckland, attend that 2-day event, 6 games. And this year it's one of the ones that can get you a ticket into the oh my god, the name's
OCC.
Michael, help me out. There we go, thank you. And compete for that. But Properly Cocked in Wellington also run some great events, so give them a like on Facebook and follow their events as well. They run fantastic events down in Wellington if you're interested in traveling to that part of the country.
Yeah, also host of one of the favourite 40k podcasters from New Zealand, Steve Joel, a lovely man himself, but not maybe the second best New Zealand podcast, right, behind you guys.
Manly Jack himself. So
yeah, go Google Manly Jack, people, and find some great 90s Steve Joel in action on kids television in New Zealand. It's great.
There we go. We have to look it up. There we go. But Michael, any events that you should highlight that you think people should attend, or that Kraken GT and like
Kraken GT, premier singles, NZTC is our premier teams event. So if you can get a team together, we'd love to see you. It is called the ANZ New Zealand Team Champs, but we will happily accept Australians as long as you don't win it. That can't be allowed.
You call that the Camilleri clause, right?
Yeah. Fucking Adam flies in, wins the event. The round isn't even over. Round 6 wasn't even over, and I'm already driving him back to the airport.
And he deliberately leaves the trophy behind.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want it.
Yeah, it's like, no, I don't want the trophy. I just want the ITC points. You guys can keep the trophy.
Yeah.
Force you to get a matching set of trophies for the next one, so it matches the one he leaves behind.
Look, those two are the two to get across. Unfortunately, they're a little bit scrambled. We pull usually Kraken GTs at the back end of the year. It's usually November, late November. We've pulled it earlier for the OCC, so it's in like 3 months ish. So if you can make it across, be awesome. Of course, you can come over and steal one of the. Well, there it is. That little. I didn't win that. I just stole it, and I'm painting it. So you can come and win that off us. Yeah.
I saw WA, so Objective Secure. They're starting to paint theirs, and it looks great. So it looks really, really nice. Towsey, any events that you would recommend coming over to New Zealand for, other than NZ Team Champs and the Kraken GT?
Yeah. I'm going to go a bit the other way, given that, like, we've got... So I could be boring, like these guys, and just, like, plug my own events. But, one, I don't know that. Two, I don't know when anything I'm hosting is going to be. So, that... But, I'm going to plug Donkey Kong, which is one of, like, the silliest, but, like, it's the best silly sort of event we have down here. You get to... I'm going to go get my donkey, because if you need to provide a donkey warrior for this tournament. So every year, like, the local toy world gets, like, there's suddenly like a massive demand and popularity for this like little donkey model. It's given that there's a fair few sort of more adjusted event. I don't know the best way to word it, but like the narrative-y sort of events locally is more common. That's like the peak of those. Which it'd just be hilarious that this sort of like local fun tournament has people come from overseas. It'd be a great time.
And get your name on the toilet seat, maybe. We'll see.
True, yes. That'd be excellent. Yeah, because if you win it, right, the event has a perpetual trophy, which is literally like a cheapo $10 toilet seat that is now held together with zip ties because the guy before me inherited it before I got it from, broke the thing. So then I was like, the day before the next event where I had to give it back, I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll fix this with some zip ties. That feels like about on brand for the event. It's a great laugh.
Too good. Become as prestigious event as a Log War doubles from LVO. Donkey Kong, LVO doubles, that's the same level.
I don't know.
Strong claim.
Prestige of the Long War doubles. It was the most prestigious event. Hardest fought. Games were rough, we had to scrap it out. Well, and we did. We don't have time to tell you guys about our last game, but man, I think when I eventually edit our podcast and release it, we talked about it a little bit. It was we should have won it, and we should have got anywhere near close to winning it. But silliness ensued, explosions happened, the Yin Khan did its thing, and our opponents, to their credit, who played much better than we did, just being fools, we're not cheated. We didn't cheat them. Yeah. They were stripped a win. They well deserved because of silliness. So
hell yeah.
Well, superior tactics by me. Superior tactics.
The ultimate play. I mean, you lost a bet before about
Nothing.
are losing the game playing Ultramarines at one event, and then you have to play at another event. So maybe you just have to keep playing Ultramarines. That's now the saga.
Did you at least have the Did you have your Vrain in the list as well, alongside the Incarn? To at least have Bobby G and like his girlfriend?
Mhm.
Okay, good.
And they
Good,
rolled
good.
together. All weekend
Yeah.
they rolled together, and the
Good,
deal was
good.
always if Bobby G died, the Incarn had to go and jump through him. No matter what. No matter what the situation was, if he died, she had to go. And he
that's
never
nice.
good. So Hayden,
Did
any
he ever
final
like
plugs or-
die and then stand up again? Sorry, Sam.
No, because you can jump even if he does stand up. But no, he
Oh,
never even fell over. So we were
Look at him
all
go.
good. She got to play the game.
Okay.
Absolute Chad. So Hayden, any final plugs or shout outs before we wrap things up?
No, mate, I've already plugged them all. So yeah, I think we've plugged pretty much the whole of New Zealand wargaming at this point. So
Always blow on the pie.
yeah, always
Safer
always
communities.
blow on the pie. Safer communities together.
Happy days. And with that, so I was to do the final shout out. So we're part of Down 40K Network. So we've got a Patreon. So patreon.com/Down40K. Support the network that supports you guys. So help looking to produce a bunch more content like this. So obviously got the Meta Watch series with Alex and Michael doing events around Australia, recapping that as part of the Down 40K circuit, as well as early ticket access to some great Down 40K events. D6 Designs AU, so produce some beautiful dice with awesome designs. I know a bunch of teams have got their team dice made through those guys, and DU40KL for 10% off. And then last but not least, Emperor. So Emperor.cc. Warhammer's not cheap in Australia and New Zealand. You get it 20% cheaper with Emperor. So, and they deliver pretty quickly, which is really nice. So happy days indeed. So thank you very much, guys, for this topic. And I think sort of chat has been fantastic. And looking forward to catching up with you guys in like just less than 2 weeks. Hoorah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anyone finds
stuck up.
If anyone has any missing vowels, contact Hayden. He's really looking for an E.
Jesus Christ. You're hopeless. And bye-bye to Lucy as well. All right. Thanks, lads. Have a great night. Take it. Thanks, everyone, also for chatting in chat. Cheers, everyone.